How you doing? Welcome back to the, I don't know what to call this, the first episode, first installment. Um, Call it whatever you want. But this is going to kind of talk about the summer going into my junior year, and I'm going to give you a little background about my sophomore year and kind of how things all fell into place for that summer. Basically, once the summer, or my sophomore year, fall got underway, I'd already had all of freshman year, spring, and everything, and I was really starting to fall into place. I was on a bunch of the scout team, special teams, and starting to play some at corner on scout team. And just on special teams, I started making plays here and there. And I talked to Coach Lewis and just said, "Do you think I might have an opportunity to finally get out there one day on Saturdays?" And he said, "Mike, you just keep working hard. We need to see you on a more consistent basis, but you're definitely jumping out in some of the film we're watching." And so that was really encouraging for me. And so after my sophomore year fall, I went and talked to Coach Boyan, who was a special teams coach, and just said, "Coach, what do I have to do to get out on the field? I want to play on Saturdays. I'll do whatever it takes." And he said, "Mike, you know what? I love your heart. I love your tempo. You're one of the hardest working guys out there, but we just have so many DB bodies that it's tough to work you in. If you were a linebacker body, I'd kill for that because you definitely have a better opportunity. But you just go out there this spring and just work your butt off and just consistently show that you're making plays on the scout team. And we're gonna have no choice but to put you on the other side of the ball. So I'll definitely keep an eye out for you, and you just keep working hard." And my sophomore year spring was also when Coach Brown came in. He was the defensive coordinator, and he was also going to coach DBs. And I was just so impressed with him because he came in the first week and he had already known everyone's names, where they were from the highest recruits all the way down to us walk-ons, and that just meant so much to us. And so within the first kind of few practices, he started to take a little notice, and I talked to him a little bit about special teams because I knew he had some background having coached in Virginia in that. And he just said, "Mike, you keep working hard, and we're gonna get you out there. I can promise you that." And so I'll never forget. He towards the end of spring ball, I had a pretty good spring ball, but we came into films one day and he had the lights off. The whole defense was in there, and he just hit play on some of the film. And first play it was me causing a fumble. Second play it was me picking a ball off. Third play it was me making a big open field tackle. Another fumble, and then just it was probably 10 or 15 plays that I made over the course of spring. And he shut the film off and just said, walked up to the front room and said, "You know what? I don't want to hear that this kid's 5 foot nothing, 100 nothing pounds, and that he's a walk on or anything like that. Because I'll tell you what, this kid he's gonna play before he leaves here. I can promise you that because every time you turn around, he's making a play. He's causing a fumble. He's making an interception. So he's gonna get his opportunity, and we'll see. And this just goes out to all you guys just to see how this guy came in just thinking he was going to go to school, and now he's making plays on the practice field. And I'll tell you what, he's going to be making plays on Saturdays before I leave here. I can promise you this. So that just meant the world to me. So at the end of spring ball, I met with Coach Brown, and we talked a little bit, and he just said, "Mike, I'd love to see, do you have a highlight tape or anything?" And I just laughed, and I said, "Coach, I don't have any of that. I wasn't planning on doing any of this stuff in college." I said, "You know what, though? I can go home, and I'll put together some of the my high school video clips." And that's what you're seeing going on right now. And I apologize for the quality, but it's the best we could go with. But he just said he wanted to see a whole bunch of special teams and just some of the plays at corner. And he kind of he's giving me a hard time. He's like, "I just don't know how you're going to perform on Saturdays because there's a lot of people watching that." And I laughed and I said, "Coach, you know what? I live for pressure." And that's why you'll see some of the wrestling clips at the end. First one is the kid I was wrestling in the semifinals. He ended up being a 4-time state champ and lost to him in the last 30 seconds. As I said before, it still eat me up a little bit on the inside. And then the second one is against a kid who that was in my third and fourth place match for state. And he had beat me in double overtime earlier in the year, and then I beat him in double overtime at sectionals. And then coming into state, as I said, I live for those bright lights, and I ended up winning by 7 points against him. And then the final clip is in the team state finals. That kid I'd lost to earlier in the year by a point or two. Then I beat him at state. And coming back, this was kind of a match that could go either way. That was going to be huge for the tournament to see who would win the state championship. And I was down by one with 20 seconds left, and you'll see the last 20 seconds. It ends up coming out all right. But I told him, I said, Coach, you know what? You get those bright lights on me, and I love it. So since I wasn't a scholarship athlete, I could go home for the summer. All the scholarship guys are required to come back. I think it's after about like 4 or 5 weeks, but I had the full summer to go out and train on my own and then get an internship. So I'd looked into investment banking going into my junior summer and really wanted to do that. But the hardest thing was they don't ever really take sophomores. And so I'd met with UBS in Chicago, and I'd seen a couple of their presentations, just really loved the people there. And so I talked to them a few times, and I said, what do I have to do to get an interview? Just give me a shot, and if I fall on my face, I fall on my face, but what do I have to do to get in? And so they just said, it's really tough for sophomores to get in, but just submit your application, and we'll give it a shot. And so I knew I needed a little something else, and I talked to Coach Weiss a little bit about some of my ideas, and he said to come in one day, we talk a little bit more, and I just said, Coach, is there any way you can just call over there, I'll give you the number, and just get an interview for me? Because once I get the interview, I feel like I'd have a pretty good shot at getting the job. And he looks at me and goes, Nello, you realize if I make this call for you, you're going to get this job. And I said, Coach, I don't want you to call in any favors. I really want the opportunity to interview because I feel like this is something that I really want to do. And so he said, Mike, I'll take care of this for you, and just go out there and make sure you're prepared for these interviews. I don't want you embarrassing me or anything, but he really went out of his way to help me, and obviously I was just another guy to him, but he was willing to do that for me, so that meant so much. And so he ended up getting me the interview. I did well on the first one, and then it came time for the Super Day, and I ended up doing well on the Super Day as well, and I ended up getting the job. And I was talking to the people after I'd gotten the job, and they just said, you know what? I was sitting in on the phone call. There was like 3 or 4 people who sat on the phone call when Coach Weiss called, and each and every one of them said that there was no way they couldn't give me an interview because the things that he said were just absolutely incredible about me. So I'm indebted to Coach Weiss not only for getting me on the field, but also for starting my career off right.